Guys, welcome back. It's been a while. I have to get a message across to everyone watching this video today, and that is forget your all-time high P&L. I don't know if you at the best and peak moment of your, this bull run so far, you had $40,000, $5,000, $1 million, $3 million. Forget it, because everything to this point has been a warm-up. It has been the pre-test, it's been studying, it has been preparation for what's going to come, because really we haven't even had an alt season, man. This has Bitcoin dominance over the last years. It's been up only, and in that time you have not seen anything like 2021, which is this right here. In 2021, Bitcoin dominance went from 73% of all the money in crypto in Bitcoin, and then bam, only 40% of the money in crypto was in Bitcoin. That's what this ratio and chart represents. And so we've been going up for over 1,000 days in Bitcoin dominance, which means Bitcoin is sucking up market share, and altcoins and meme coins are losing market share during this time. And so the thing about that is that, once again, you're expecting 2021 style returns, but we haven't had the 2021 style or even close to that type of environment, you see? So that's the thing. I think people have ridiculous expectations at the wrong time. The thing is, your expectations aren't wrong, they're just at the wrong time. So here's what you need to understand in this video is that, once again, Brett and other meme coins that you probably hold, like Pepe, for example, their whole entire existence has only been when Bitcoin dominance has been rising. They've never gotten to experience an actual Bitcoin dominance downturn where money shifts from Bitcoin dominant times to altcoin dominant times. And so you are over here giving up on your memes in the hard times and never even letting them see the good times. And that is the biggest problem that so many of you have. Giving up when it's hard and never making it to the times where times actually got easy. And by the way, just these tiny little glimpses that we've seen Bitcoin dominance drop so far this cycle. For example, the last time, November to December, when Bitcoin dominance dropped from 61% down to 54%, this is what Brett did. It went from 700 million to 2.3 billion market cap. Just this tiny little move, bro. And so imagine when we get anything like this. Even a little bit bigger than this, we get something like this. All right, this right here is a 45% move down in Bitcoin dominance. This right here, for example, is a 20% move down in Bitcoin dominance. This move right here was only 9%. You see, and so all this in 2021 where you made the big money was there, it's there, it's there. So basically what I'm trying to say is big money in altcoins and meme coins or shit coins or any of these coins that are not Bitcoin is going to happen in these moves down in this chart. And once again, you're giving up on your coins when we haven't even got a move down in this chart. And so think about that before you give up on some of your coins. Think about that before you get sad about what your all-time high peak portfolio value was. Because dude, if it was 1 million in the worst Bitcoin dominant environment, which is, it's the worst environment for your altcoins, right? If it was 1 million then, you're looking at 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, 8 million later. And that's just simply based off of this chart coming down to not even the lows, but back down to 48%, these previous highs in 2021, 2022. And so I'm just going to show you, once again, the two runs a coin. It's crystal clear. For example, if you look at May to June right here, and you look over here, May to June, whenever Bitcoin dominance, it barely pulled back. I don't even know if you can call this a pullback. Brett pumps from 300 million to 1.9 billion. Then over here in November to December, you have Brett doing this. in one single month, 700 million to 2.3 billion. Keep in mind, these only lasted about 1 month. Why? Because Bitcoin dominance continues to rise. But what happens whenever you don't just get a 1 month tiny little pullback and you get something more like right here, 130 days, 300 days really, or 600 days of Bitcoin actually losing dominance? Of course, it has bounces in between. But what I'm really going to highlight is this. This is the juiciest period right here, 60 days. This is another juicy period, 80 days. There's another period right here, 60 days. You see, we're going to have multiple of these waves, and the wave is going to come in and it's going to go out. It's going to come in, it's going to go out. And through those waves, in some waves you're going to have a moment where gaming goes parabolic. In some moment you're going to have a moment where memes go parabolic. In another moment you're going to have the new generation of memes go parabolic. Each of these waves, there's different narratives and different things that really pick up and go the hardest. And so once again, we haven't had any of these true waves that last even more than 30 days in the last 1,000 days. So what I'm anticipating and why I'm so confident Bitcoin dominance is going to roll over is because at the same time that Bitcoin has been surging, right? Well, typically what we've been seeing, Bitcoin has been surging all this time and Bitcoin dominance has been rising as well. But for the first time in so long, we are seeing Bitcoin is surging, but at the same time, Bitcoin dominance is not actually going higher, which means money is starting to favor altcoins, meme coins, and it's about to hit hard because the truth is we're still very close to the highs. But once this starts to roll over, you're going to see an enormous amount of money roll into your alts. More money than even right here on the same actual move. Why? Because right now, Bitcoin is at a higher market cap. It is at a higher price. And so that means there's more money in the crypto space. And so right now, for example, 60% then is not going to be the same as 60% now whenever Bitcoin is up here in the hundreds, 20K plus. To put it more simply, there's just going to be a lot more money than you remembered or have seen before. It's going to be a wave that is going to make you feel invincible. It's going to be a wave that makes you feel like shit is never going to stop and like you can touch anything and it turns to gold. That's the type of environment you'll see, and it's going to come soon. And another reason I'm really confident that's about to happen is because one of my favorite patterns for shorting something is this: whenever it overshoots the highs 3 times with bear divergence, aka it's getting weaker even though it's going higher. You can see that here. It went higher, it got weaker, and then the volume is increasing on that third top. So for me, that's one of the best setups to short something. And although I can't short Bitcoin dominance, it's not like a pair on Bybit or Binance, you go short it. What you can do is then actually buy the altcoins that you think are going to gain dominance. How can we know what altcoins are going to gain dominance? Is we compare them versus Bitcoin and look at their chart. What I'm looking for, before I even pull into this chart, on anything that I pair versus Bitcoin, I am looking for a long-term double bottom or something that's already showing a clear uptrend against Bitcoin. If it's not one of those two things, it probably doesn't make sense. And so, for example, in the case of Brett, this has to be one of the most beautiful charts you could ever buy if you know anything about buying low and selling high. Because most people, obviously, what do? They get hyped up and they always buy high. They buy whenever the meme coin is outperforming heavily Bitcoin. But what you need to do is buy the lows, buy the floor. You can see now for well over a year, almost a year and a half, Brett versus Bitcoin hasn't been able to go below this low, even with missiles fired, even with Trump extracting through his coin so much money from the market. No matter what, it's been unable to go lower than this level. And so this gives you a floor to buy from where your risk is very limited, where you know you can outperform so much, and even just coming back to the highs, right, you're going to outperform Bitcoin by buying Brett here by 5x. And that's just simply returning back to the previous highs in this pair. But that's not including going past those highs. And so check this out. This is a little hidden detail that a lot of people are not going to pick up on. When Brett hit 1.9 billion market cap back here in June, go back to this Brett over Bitcoin pair. This was June. And you can see the highest point in this pair was Brett hitting 1.9 billion. Then when the pair actually went lower right here, it was still hitting 2.3 billion. It was hitting higher. And that's what I'm saying. Even if we made a lower high here, you're still hitting a higher market cap in Brett because there's more money in the space. There's more, there's a higher market cap. There's more money flowing than there was before at the same points in Bitcoin dominance. You see? So we have to go back, pull up the Bitcoin dominance chart, for example, and you can take a look at this for yourself. But basically, you can see even when Bitcoin dominance rose from, watch, remember, this is the bottom point and this is the top point. This is the bottom point and this is the top point. And so you can see even though Bitcoin dominance rose, and yet at the same time, even though Bitcoin dominance rose, the Brett top rose as well. Why? Because once again, there's more money in the space, so you go further even with less actual Bitcoin dominance. With more Bitcoin dominance, you still go higher because once again, there's more money pushing the prices of everything. So that's what you need to understand. Now, if we come back even higher than before, we're going to be already a higher market cap than the previous highs in Brett. But now, what happens whenever this actually breaks down? How high are you going to go then? And so this is another thing I want to go over with everyone is how do you actually sell at the top or close to it? Because there's another chart I want to point out which is going to help everyone do that. And so if you take USDT dominance plus USDC dominance, basically what you're going to be looking at is the combined percentage that both of the largest stablecoins in the world make up out of the total crypto market cap. So, for example, you can go over here to CoinMarketCap, and you can see that the total market cap of the entire industry right now is 3.74 trillion. Now, take Tether and take USDC. Together, you add them up, they're around 220 billion market cap out of 3.74 trillion, which equals this right here. 6% of all market cap in crypto is shared between these two stable coins. And so whenever this chart right here bottoms, the market tops. Whenever this chart tops, the market bottoms. And so I'll show you that real quickly. So look at here, March 2024 and then December of 2024. This bottoms. If this bottoms, that means more money is coming into stable coins. And how does more money come into stable coins? Obviously, it means people are selling crypto and then they're getting USDT or USDC. So when people sell their crypto, this goes up. Whenever people are getting rid of their stable coins, this goes down. And because they're getting rid of their stable coins, what are they converting it to? They're converting it to Bitcoin. So let's go through this together. March of 2024, and then you go back to March of 2024. Bitcoin tops as what? This bottoms. Then we go back up here, July, August of 2024. July, August of 2024. Bitcoin bottoms whenever what? This tops. Then it goes back down. So once again, money is leaving stable coins, it's going into Bitcoin and crypto. And then bam, bottoms by December, which means what? Bam, right here. By December, we top. Then we come back up. In April, right here, we set a top again. April, we set a bottom again. You see how they're just the opposite of each other. And so we can get an extremely good idea of how high Bitcoin and crypto is going to go by looking at this chart. And basically, whenever you get to this support level or slightly below it, that's when you're going to be at support. That's when you're going to be at a high risk zone where the chances of this chart bottoming, right, are going to see, this is the thing about Bitcoin. There are no resistance levels right now. You don't have anything to go off of. There's no resistances above us. And so that's where a lot of people get sucked into looking at price targets. Oh, this guy says it's going to hit 150K. This guy says it's going to hit 500. This guy said it's going to hit 1 million. And so without any resistance level on this chart to give you a good idea, when is the price going to stop? A lot of people don't realize you can look at the stablecoin dominance, and actually as it's reaching the previous levels, that's where you're most likely to get resistance on Bitcoin, because you're running into support on stablecoin dominance. You see? And so what's probably going to happen is stablecoin dominance comes back to these levels where it bounced from before, slightly below it, give or take around there. That's where you want to be taking profits. So everyone needs to, and you don't even need a membership, a paid one, right? To go on tradingview.com, put in USDT.D plus USDC.D. I'll do it again right here. And whenever you look at this chart, since we have previous support levels here, that's going to help us when we run into unseen and invisible resistance levels that aren't there yet in the chart on Bitcoin, because it's in price discovery. All right. So that's a cool little tip that a lot of people have no idea how to look at, because they're only looking at, if you think about the typical person in crypto, they're just looking at Bitcoin. They're just looking at this chart and they see no resistance. They see clear skies above and they see a thing that just keeps going up. But what they don't see is that support here equals future resistance here. So pay attention to this chart, because it's going to help you know when to sell not only just Bitcoin, but also altcoins, even something like Brett. Because by the time we get down to around here, Brett could already be at 10x higher. It could be at 40 cents to $1.30, for example, when it breaks out here. And I think it's going to break out any day, any week. This is the time where you have everything shifted largely in your favor, where you're showing the inability to break lower, but you have the ability to go a lot higher. That's where you want to buy. So 90% of people, they think that alts and meme coins are so risky and it's like hitting the lottery. But it is for them, because they're buying into massive pumps against Bitcoin, which is a bad strategy. You want to buy at discount versus Bitcoin, not at a premium versus Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is ultimately the asset that holds the strongest long term in crypto. So imagine buying at a premium versus it. You should be buying altcoins when you have a discount versus Bitcoin. You see? So obviously for most people though, they get sucked into the hype and they only buy whenever these things are trading at a premium versus Bitcoin. If you will shift and learn one thing from this video, it is that if you're gonna buy risky shit, do it whenever it's in your favor. Do it whenever these things are showing you that they're bottomed, when they have the inability to go lower and all the upside in the world, and that they're at a major discount versus Bitcoin. Just like you would buy Bitcoin, or you should buy Bitcoin, whenever it was at a major discount versus the US dollar, whenever it traded from 69K down to 16K. But oh wait, nobody ever likes to buy the fucking discount. Instead, what most people do every time, they shit on whatever is at a big discount. They think, oh, because it's a lower price, that must mean it's not good, or that it's dead, or has no traction. Then whenever the thing goes up, oh yeah, dude, this shit has traction. This shit is amazing. I'm buying now. So you gotta flip what the 90% of people in this world do and do the opposite of them. When you do that and you learn to bite down on the mouthpiece and buy shit whenever it's not popular, well then whenever it gets popular, that's when you win big. That's whenever you make 10x, 20x, 30x, 50x, is by buying when shit's not popular consensus and selling it and flipping it to everyone when they badly want it from you, when it is consensus. And so this is Brett versus Bitcoin. But Brett is not the only chart like this. You can go and you can look at other altcoin pairs and see what is floored out with bullish divergence. So for example, we can look at Pepe versus Bitcoin, and this is also going to show us the same pattern. It's at a major discount versus Bitcoin, and it has shown the inability to go lower for almost half a year. It's been unable to go lower. And so from this point, obviously, what do you think has a higher chance of happening? It's all of a sudden just going to magically break down below a level that it can't break down from for over half a year? Or do you think, okay, it's shown us that through missiles, through Trump coin, it couldn't break down, and the more likely outcome is that now it's going to gain dominance and pump against Bitcoin like it has done so much in the past. So once again, here's a pump against Bitcoin, dump against Bitcoin, pump against Bitcoin, dump against Bitcoin, pump against Bitcoin, dump against Bitcoin. This shit moves in waves. If you know how to surf here, if you know how to get in and get out on these waves, instead of being the one that buys into the wave, you prepare for the wave and ride it. I mean, that's the difference between being pro and just being some noob who buys the top of every meme and calls it a lottery or all about luck. It's not luck. It's just that most of you guys never look at these charts, never look at the ratio of your meme versus Bitcoin, and you never pay attention to the little details which make a big difference. So anyways, enough of the charts. At this point, there have been 100 million gazillion meme coins that launched. Every single good narrative that there could possibly be has already came out. There's only going to be very occasional, in my opinion, new narratives that happen based off new world events. For example, if Elon Musk gets a new dog, or if there is a new famous hippo that gets shot in the zoo. Something like that happens and that is relevant in that time, that's getting a lot of views and a lot of attention, and people fall in love with the story. Outside of that, there's not going to be new narratives. All the best narratives, they already exist. So at this point, I think the best thing to do is simply buy what has already went through multiple big dips, buy what is proven, buy what comes back every time when the market is bullish, buy what people believe in after all those dips still. And that's a short list of memes, so I really don't even need to tell you what memes to buy. Obviously I have my own that I'm bullish on, and you can be bullish on whatever you want. I really believe Brett is going to hit at least $1 this cycle, and that's a free 20x plus in my eyes. So, I consider I feel like when you're right, and you know you're going to be right, you don't need to take a million bets. I have on less than 2 hands meme coins that I hold, less than 10. So you guys can spray and pray all you want. I know my strategy. I'm buying Brett, Pepe, Bobo, and a few others. And so you can do whatever you want. And at the end of the day, I've shown you Bitcoin dominance. I've shown you Tether and USDC dominance combined, which will help you know when to sell your crypto, including the coins that I hold, including coins that other people share with you, including coins that you find on your own, and including Bitcoin. This will give you a really good idea of when to be taking some profits off the table. And the truth is, you should be up multiple X's, whether that's on Bitcoin you bought, whether that's on Brett, whether that's on any other meme coin that you've done good on. You should be up many X's on by now. So as we approach this level, you're going to be up even more X's. You should be risk-free. You should have your initial capital out and some profit, and you should have a good position where, once again, you can sleep on your risk-free, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be impossible to not make money on Brett. It's the #1 meme on freaking Base, and it is so undervalued compared to every other #1 meme right now. So #1 meme on in the world, Doge, 29 billion. #1 meme on ETH for now, SHIB, 7.8 billion. #1 meme on Solana, 2.1 billion. And then there's the next biggest chain, which is Base. #1 meme, 540 million market cap. So Bread is by far the most undervalued #1 meme on its chain right now, and it's going to catch up into the billions like every other #1 meme on their chain. So for me, that is the simplest, easiest, safest, highest upside bet in the market, especially per the market cap, right? Like if we're talking about risk per size of the coin, Bread is by far the best bet in the entire market, in my opinion. And so I fully believe you're going to see, since I've said from the beginning, me turn $15,000 into over $50 million plus on Brett this cycle, which is, look, my position is going to be worth $50 million in about a 12x. So Brett goes from 500 million to just 6 billion, 5 billion-ish market cap, and I'm already at a $50 million position in Brett. So this is really an easy target for Brett, and it's something that can go so much farther than that, because if you think about the number one memes on the other chains, okay, Doge, 29 billion. Obviously, that is way higher than Brett at 6 billion, right? Okay, it's the number one meme in literally the entire world. Let's go through Pepe. Pepe can hit 40 billion. And, what we saw in the last run when Pepe hit 11 billion, Brett hit 2.3 billion. So Brett went 1/5, right? 20% as high as Pepe. So Pepe hits 40 billion, which is an 8x from here. Then Brett hits 8 billion, let's say, as a worst case, it does 20% of Pepe. And then if it does 20% of Pepe, that's 8 billion. Well, right now, 8 billion market cap is right around here, which is a 16x. Now, here's the real wild card factor is in 2021, SHIB actually flipped Dogecoin momentarily and a couple of times. And now obviously SHIB trades at a fraction of Doge, but there were moments where SHIB flipped Doge. And so now I'm giving you a ratio. If Pepe hits 40 billion, Brett hits just 20% of that, hits 8 billion, right? Now, if Pepe hits 40 billion and Brett hits 50% of that, Brett hits 20 billion. Right? Once again, SHIB was second to Doge. Brett currently is second biggest character in the comic next to Pepe. It's the number one meme on Base. This is the number one meme on ETH. So is it possible to see Brett hitting 50 to 100% the market cap of Pepe, even if hitting 100% is only momentarily? Maybe it only lasts 3 days, kind of like SHIB did to Doge. If you believe that's a possibility, then the upside for Brett, it can go anywhere from 8 billion on the low end to 40 billion like Pepe on the high end. And so that's what I am, it is the comfiest, easiest hold in the entire world. I mean, you have a coin that has spent 99% of its life now above a 500 to a billion market cap. You have a coin that survived all the bad catalysts for meme coins, where 99% of memes died and still stands strong as the number one meme on Base and holding 500 million floor. So first off, in a Bitcoin dominance environment where it goes down, pretty much almost every altcoin, 5x's, 3x's. Now the best altcoins, like the number one meme on Base, number one meme on Ethereum, these are going to do even more x's than that. So if the typical coin does like a 3x, and these coins are going to be doing minimum 8 to 10x. And that's worst case, I believe. So once again, people are not ready for a real move in Bitcoin dominance. People are going to be pissed that they sold the bottom on so many coins, or that maybe they didn't even want to sell the bottom, but they got so desperate they ended up selling it to try and chase different opportunities or gamble or try to make money a different way. And then they come back and say, damn, if only I had held, I would have had X amount. Fuck me. I ruined it. I ruined the whole cycle is what a lot of people are going to say. So it is what it is. I try to make this video and other videos to try to help you understand how you can actually know when to sell without having to listen to anyone's price targets. Okay, forget the price targets. Focus on the levels, because whenever this reaches closer to support, that's when you want to be taking profits, whether it's on Brett or Bitcoin or other things. And especially when Bitcoin dominance gets closer to 50% or lower, those are your two major signals. Okay, Bitcoin dominance had a huge move down to 50% or less. USDT dominance and Circle dominance came down to support at 4.5% or lower, taking profits, right? And so then it doesn't really matter whose price targets in the world, whether they say 6 billion, 40 billion, 10 billion. Some people are going to say they're going to flip the fucking stocks. I mean, stupid shit people are going to say. It doesn't really matter. Focus on the levels and everything will work out. So, alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like, make sure you subscribe. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already. And we're about to make a lot of freaking money in the next 6 months. So I hope you learned, and I hope this video helps you sell at the right time. And come back in the future, whether that's leaving me a comment on Twitter or leaving a comment on this video or future video, and tell me like, hey, I ended up selling and not round tripping thanks to this video, and that would make me really happy. So see you guys later. Take care. Bye.